I'm Alex Witt here in New York at MSNBC World Headquarters. It's at 1 o'clock here in the East. It's 10 a.m. out West. And here's what's happening. Money and Manafort. An NBC exclusive report uncovers a bigger financial tie between the Trump campaign's former chairman and a Russian billionaire.
We will not continue down a path whose predictable conclusion is more violence, more terror, and the very real threat of Iran's nuclear breakout.
Dealing a blow, the president's actions trigger worry around the globe and a fear of war. Also, the season of war, at least in Steve Bannon's mind, what he just told the Values Voters Summit and why the GOP may need to worry. And they said, he said, a growing list of accusers against disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. We're going to speak to one accuser about what she claims happened to her. But first, new reaction this hour following President Trump's executive order on health care. Let's go to NBC's Kelly O'Donnell. She's at the White House for us with more on this. Kelly, a good Saturday afternoon to you. Tell us what's happening.
Well, first to explain, the president began his day with some tweets that relate to two separate actions his administration has taken concerning the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. He did an executive order which sets in motion the possibility for across state line insurance purchases for associations and shorter term without all of the coverage elements for policies down the line. Also, his administration is saying it will no longer provide the cost-sharing payments, which is the federal government paying insurance companies to subsidize the policies for lower-income Americans. So that's the backdrop. The president today says health insurance stocks, which have gone through the roof during the Obamacare years, plunged yesterday after I ended their Dems windfall. The president is asserting that insurance companies back Democrats, and therefore the change in this ruling would affect their stock. He also says, proud of my executive order, which will allow greatly expanded access and far lower costs for health care. Millions of people will benefit. Well, this is just a first step. It's got quite a ways to go before these new plans could be put into effect. Of course, the president was frustrated that he did not get action from Congress, which is why he is taking these steps. Now, Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer, who is the most powerful Democrat on Capitol Hill, he responds saying the president's MO, failure to lead, throws destructive bones to his base, then tells Congress to fix it. And then he refers to Iran, healthcare, and Puerto Rico. So Chuck Schumer responding to the president today, frustrated, of course, by the president leaning on Congress to take care of these matters after we've seen the president's had a rough go with Congress, a Republican-led Congress, on all of those issues. So when it comes to healthcare, not being able to get a new bill passed, the president is using some of his executive authorities, something that certainly people have criticized President Obama for using during his 8 years, to try to make some changes to health care policy. Alex?
All right, Kelly O'Donnell, thank you as always for that. Joining me now, former White House aide and Huffington Post contributor Peter Emerson, and Republican strategist and author of Branding America, Noel Nickpour. Welcome to you both. Peter, I'm going to ask you first here to take a look at what the president has dismantled, or at least tried to dismantle. Domestically, we have the Clean Power Plan, Obamacare subsidies, DACA's in peril. Now we've got the Iran deal, the Paris Accord, and I know you probably, actually, I was going to say you probably agree with some of these moves, but I don't think you do at all, because he's dismantling and he's not constructing any of his policies. Is that a problem that, from a PR perspective, he is the dismantler in chief?
It is for the majority of Americans, and more importantly for the world. I just came back from London, the Mideast, and 2 countries in Africa, and I can report that there is widespread and uniform concern. We can't trust America. We don't know what America's doing. And I know for a lot of people it doesn't matter, but in fact it really does. The United States is no longer isolated. And so for the president to dissemble, as he's been saying all along, remember the quotes during the campaign, let Obamacare implode. Well, it's let Puerto Ricans and Virgin Islanders implode without water or electricity, or let this group or that group implode or die even. It's really extraordinary, the disinterest and in many ways the malpractice that the president is wreaking on numbers of millions of Americans, in fact.
Okay, and as you know, to that end, Noel, the order stops the subsidies paid to insurers. Those subsidies are the ones that pay out-of-pocket costs for low-income Americans, which could potentially impact up to 6 million people and also increase premiums. So the president now owns this broken healthcare system, right?
Well, he does own it because this is what when you have an executive order, you own it. You can't really blame it on anyone else but yourself. With this said, I think a lot of Americans mainly wanted Trump for several reasons. One of them, immigration. The other thing is, repeal or replace Obamacare. While it was never clear what he was going to replace it with when he was running for office, a lot of people wanted it just repealed and maybe replaced later because they were very upset about what Obamacare had given them, which was when Obama came out, he said you can keep your doctor, your premiums are not going to go up, and this in fact was not the truth. And enrollment was down. People were very, they were not really sold on the fact that they could trust what was before them. That's why you saw enrollment was not, overwhelmingly what the Obama administration had thought it was going to be. So